2024 has started, and I wanna share my list of most anticipated animated movies and shows of 2024. Last year was extremely good for animation, at least in my opinion. We got some of the best animated shows of recent years, in different genres, and I fully hope that this year won't be disappointing either. These shows and movies I'm gonna be talking about are not in any chronological order, because some shows don't even have a proper release date yet, and it's not quite clear when exactly to expect them. And I would like to start with Vivienne Medrano's Has Been Hotel series, which premieres on January 19, and when this video is out, the first 4 episodes are most likely already released too. The pilot episode was released all the way back in 2019, which is over 4 years ago. This pilot had phenomenal success, as it managed to create the whole fan base based around just one episode on YouTube. I don't love the pilot, I think its humor is too immature and edgy. For this exact reason I couldn't watch Hell of a Boss beyond the first few episodes. But I must admit that taking into consideration that Has Been Hotel wasn't backed by any big animation studio, it looked quite impressive. The show is distributed by A24, one of the best distributing companies right now, and it's released on Amazon Prime, a streaming service that is responsible for some of the best cartoons of recent years, including Invincible. A24 usually means quality, so I have my hopes. Has Been Hotel deconstructs the Bible lore in a quite interesting way. Instead of Adam and Eve, we have Adam and Lilith here. Lilith was a freedom-loving rebel who decided to flee Eden because she didn't want to be subordinate to Adam. She's found by Lucifer, and they fall in love with each other. They were both fighting for freedom of will for all humanity, for which they were thrown into the pits of hell. With time, hell got overpopulated, and in fear of uprising, heaven decided to exterminate demons in hell each year. And Charlie Morningstar, the main character, is the daughter of Lilith and Lucifer. I can already picture a lot of religious folks launching online campaigns against this show, if they haven't already. A Broadway singer Erica Henningsen replaced Elsie Lovelock as Charlie. Leggy is voiced by Stephanie Beatrice, who voiced Mirabelle in Disney's Encanto. Animation looks pretty good. Music has this big bombastic Disney/Broadway vibe, but with a lot of swearing. Overall, I'm really excited to see what Vivienne and her team managed to create after so many years of speculation. Season 2 of Invincible was, for some really weird reason, split in 2 parts. The first half arrived in November of 2023, and in my opinion was really good, especially the 4th episode. It essentially ended with a cliffhanger as Omni-Man is taken by Viltrumites to Viltrum for tribunal, because Omni-Man was supposed to conquer the Earth for the Viltrum Empire, but he got too attached to his family and didn't do his job. And now Mark has to replace his father as the conqueror of Earth. Mark's situation is really awful. If he doesn't comply and bring the Earth into submission, it'll just be destroyed by Viltrumites. Mark knows that he's incapable of stopping the Viltrumites. Nobody in the galaxy is. My only real complaint about the show is that animation quality could certainly be much better, especially taking into consideration that, for some reason, it took 2.5 years to finally release 4 episodes of Season 2. The release date of the second half is still unavailable. I just wonder why they couldn't finish the entire season and release it in 2024 instead of having this weird hiatus in the middle. The SAG-AFTRA strike impacted the release schedules of many Hollywood companies, but for Disney the strike was just a cherry on the top of a frankly terrible year. Disney moved some of their notorious films to 2025, including Pixar's Elio. So in 2024 we are only getting Inside Out 2. Pete Docter is the chief creative officer of Pixar now. He replaced John Lasseter in 2018, so he's been really busy and, therefore, he didn't direct the sequel of Inside Out. Kelsey Mann is the director. Inside Out 2 is his debut. 2010s weren't the best decade for Pixar, but Inside Out alongside Coco were 2 rare gems and reminders that Pixar is still capable of creating masterpieces. Inside Out was an extremely emotional and creative coming-of-age story. It really didn't need a sequel, but Pixar is Pixar, and even their sequels are often of good quality, and often they have something interesting to say, some interesting ideas and concepts, and I'm sure we wouldn't have a sequel if there wasn't some interesting story to tell. so I'm very excited for the sequel. A new Walt Disney movie is still listed in November of this year, but it's still to be announced, so I assume we won't have a movie from Walt Disney Animation Studios this year. It's just not good from a marketing perspective. There are a lot of cases when a certain movie doesn't have a release date, but in Disney's case there is a release date, but no movie attached to it. My theory is that the next Walt Disney Animation Studios movie is Zootopia 2, and it will be out in March next year, just like the original. It also premiered in March, but of 2016. Continuing with Disney, Tiana is supposed to premiere this year on Disney+, but no release date, no official synopsis, nothing. But I'm gonna give Disney the benefit of a doubt here, and list Tiana among 2024 premieres. I'm not really a fan of The Prince and the Frog. I recently rewatched it from my Disney Revival series. The movie is just mediocre. But I'm looking forward to watching Tiana just because I'm curious what direction these Disney Plus spin-off shows are gonna take, and what the quality of animation will be. Will it be more juvenile or more serious and mature like Gravity Falls or like The Owl House? I can't say anything about Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure because I haven't seen it yet. If Rapunzel was a standalone show in 2017, now Disney wants to start the whole series of these spin-off shows about Disney heroines. Moana is also listed in 2024, but I bet it won't be out this year. As a fan of the horror genre, I really adore Junji Ito. Long Dream is one of the creepiest and most unsettling things I have ever read in my life. If you love good horror, I really recommend it. Read manga, don't watch anime, manga is infinitely better. Uzumaki is Ito's most well-known story and perhaps one of the greatest horror novels ever written. This is not an exaggeration. A lot of Western authors focus on stuff like ghosts, spirits, and the afterlife because of the influence of Christianity. But Junji Ito portrays body horror and the horrible deformations that the human body can experience. His works are very grotesque and disturbing. This is what I love in good horror stories. I wanna be disturbed. I wanna be taken out of my comfort zone. Junji Ito is one of the few authors who can actually do that. I'm glad we're getting a mini-series adaptation of Uzumaki. And by the way, I just found out that Colin Stetson is composing music for the series. Stetson wrote the soundtrack for Ari Aster's Hereditary. Listen to the track called Reborn from the movie. It is one of the most beautiful, mysterious, yet absolutely terrifying pieces of music that I've ever heard in my life. I don't know what to say about the Tomb Raider animated show, because I haven't played a single game and haven't seen a single adaptation. I just know that it's an action adventure similar to Indiana Jones or Uncharted. Series Network's animation has a pretty good reputation, as some of the most notorious animated shows of recent years such as Castlevania, Arcane and recent Blue Eye Samurai, which I consider the best animation of 2023, have been released on Netflix. So at the very least, Tomb Raider is gonna be a decent adventure story with good animation. Hopefully. The Wild Robot is a new animated movie by DreamWorks. It's set to be out in September. It's based on a novel by a man with the most unremarkable name ever, Peter Brown. The book is telling a story of a robot Ross, who discovers that he is alone on a remote and wild island. The mid's premise does sound extremely intriguing. The film is directed and written by Chris Sanders, who previously directed Lilo and Stitch, How to Train Your Dragon, and The Croods. Interestingly enough, there is still practically no information about the film, no trailers, no concept arts, nothing. I'm afraid the movie will repeat the fate of Ruby Gilman. Marketing for Ruby Gilman was launched only 3 months before the release date. As a result, not surprisingly, the movie catastrophically bombed at the box office. A couple of words about Kung Fu Panda 4. I didn't like the trailer. It was very juvenile, and I wish DreamWorks would less rely on their franchises and make more good original stuff instead. The most anticipated show of 2024 is the second season of Arcane. The first season was exquisite in almost every way. Great storytelling, interesting lore, characters. It cost around 100 million, and it really did look like a 100 million production. The expectations for the second season are extremely high. Arcane is arguably the best animated show released in the past 10 years, and I expect the second season to be absolutely phenomenal. And I would like to finish this video with The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim. I really don't know how much I need this movie, or if I need this movie at all, but it's gonna be something interesting to behold, that's for sure. It's a Japanese-American anime film based on John Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings appendix. It's gonna tell a story of legendary Rohan king Helm Hammerhand, after whom the Helm's Deep was named. The anime film takes place in the same universe as Peter Jackson's trilogy. It is narrated by Miranda Ota, who will reprise her role as Elwyn. The movie is directed by Kenji Kimayama. His most recent works are Star Wars Visions and Blade Runner Black Lotus. Just so you'd better understand what to expect from the world of the Rohirrim. Concept arts look decent. Allegedly the film will have the same tone and style as Peter Jackson's trilogy. I have zero idea what exactly to expect, but whatever this movie is gonna be, I will be there in the IMAX theater watching it, that's for sure. These are my most anticipated animated movies and shows. Obviously I'll try to watch more, and perhaps my future favorite shows and movies of the year aren't even in this video. I'll probably watch Demon Slayer, I haven't seen it yet, but it is one of the most popular anime shows of recent years. Mugen Train was the highest grossing film of 2020 in the world after all. If you wanna know how I feel about Despicable Me 4, I absolutely despise this franchise. These films have been a bad influence on American animation for over a decade now. Thanks for staying with me. Next you can watch the first episode of my Disney Revival series, which I started recently. In the meantime, I'll be finishing my Hilda video essay.